Never let anybody see you sweat.
So I was born in New York City, and I lived there until I was 8 years old. I realized that I was a much better talker than I was a listener.
I don't know what to say, I just don't like what you're saying.
Sorry, Your Honor.
I ended up going to law school at Georgetown, and I was a prosecutor for Janet Reno. I loved it because it was so raw.
Were you cheating on her?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
All rise.
Our show will be a mixture of education, I think you're misreading the law a little bit, and entertainment. My main goal is justice and the law. That's been my legacy, and the legacy I hope to continue into the future with this show.
Mac Keller claims he was shut out of Thanksgiving dinner at his sister-in-law's home after he arrived with all the food. Tasha Givens says she warned Mr. Keller not to show up after she found out he cheated on her sister.
All right, Mr. Keller, you are suing Miss Givens for $360, the price you paid for a Thanksgiving meal she refused to accept. What's your relationship with her?
She's my sister-in-law. I am married to her sister, Nikki.
Okay, and are you in the midst of a divorce with
Yes, yes, ma'am, I am.
Nikki? Okay. Do you have children?
Yes, we have 2, 8 and 10.
Okay. Tell me about why you ended up being the one who was buying the Thanksgiving dinner.
So last year at Thanksgiving time, I didn't have a job, and I couldn't contribute during Thanksgiving. This year, I was fortunate enough to have 2 jobs this year, so I would happen to be able to afford the Thanksgiving.
Okay.
From there,
So you were going to get everything?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. And from there, I ordered the food, and day before Thanksgiving, we are over at Tasha's house. Just the adults, no kids there. We're just drinking and having hors d'oeuvres. And
Is that a tradition, the Wednesday before?
Yes, Your Honor, he's correct in that.
Okay.
We're over there, and I walk into the kitchen. Tasha's talking to my wife, Nikki, and I overhear Tasha talking about me, how I can't keep a job or I'm broke and all this good stuff. And mind you, she is belligerent drunk at this time. So I walk up
That
to her
is
too.
not-
Hold on one second. I'll be with you in a moment. Go
I
ahead.
had been drinking also, but I wasn't belligerent drunk. I could
Okay.
keep up with myself. So I walk up to her and say, hey, if you got anything to say to my wife, you can say to my face. And she did not like that. And as previous family events before, she went off on me, telling me I can't come to Thanksgiving tomorrow. You're not welcome in my house. You're broke. You need to treat my sister.
I'm kind of confused. At this moment in time, are you and her sister getting a divorce?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So we're still living together, though.
You're still living together, but like not that way.
Correct. Yes,
Right,
ma'am.
like you're just, okay.
Yes.
And are the children living in the house with you?
They are.
Okay. But it's over.
Yes, it's completely over.
The
Now-
Thanksgiving, just a moment. The Thanksgiving before, were you guys together?
Yes, we were.
All right, so she then tells you you're not welcome, and what do?
I wanted to go off on her, but seeing as this was an adult event and I was with her family, my wife's family, I wanted to treat her with some respect. I ignored it because this isn't the first time that she's cursed me out or told me you can't come to a family event when she's drunk. And even before then, the next day we'd be completely fine. So I'm taking this instance as why would I believe you this time? So I completely ignore it, and
Your Honor.
the next day.
Ma'am, let me explain something to you. I can hear both of you, just not at the same time. It'll be your turn in a moment. Go ahead.
The next day, Thanksgiving arrives. Obviously, my wife and my kids were all in the same car on the way to Tasha's house for Thanksgiving.
But hadn't your wife heard her sister say you can't come tomorrow?
She has before.
And did she call her and talk to her and say and smooth it over and figure things out? Or?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Did your wife, I guess, then also assume that Tasha didn't mean what she said?
Yes, because this isn't the first time.
All right. So you get to the house, and what happens?
We get to the house. My wife and kids get out of the car. They're ahead of me, obviously. I'm back trying to get the food out of the car. Tasha comes out, greets her niece and nephew and my wife. They walk into the house. I'm walking up to the door with the food. Tasha stops me. She said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "This is Thanksgiving. I told you I was going to cater food and bring it here for Thanksgiving." She said, "You're not allowed in my house. I told you last night I didn't want you to come." And I was like, what makes
You had to whip up Thanksgiving between the drunken night before and Thanksgiving dinner? Because you weren't counting on having to do Thanksgiving.
I had a backup plan because he never comes through. He never keeps a job. He never have no money. He's always broke.
Do you get along with your brother-in-law?
No, I do not. He's a liar. He lies a lot.
How
And
long
he's a cheater.
have you? How long has he been in your life? How long was he with your sister?
Nearly 8 to 9 years.
All right. And what happened the night before?
Okay, so the night before, we were having drinks at hors d'oeuvres, just like he said, and my sister, she's always coming to me about issues he does and things he do. So she was telling me about his infidelities. He's been texting and sexting his
But I
coworkers.
thought they were divorced.
At that time, they were having troubles in their marriage.
Okay.
Okay, and it has to do with him being texting his
Unfaithful.
coworkers.
Okay.
And that night, she showed me a text that he had been sexting, and he had a bare shirt, no shirt on, smiling, and he had sent it to his coworkers, talking about how I look. And that's inappropriate when you're married.
Coming up on Justice for the People.
So when he says that he didn't believe you because this has happened before, you're saying it's never happened before.
It's never happened. He just merely.
Were you drunk that night on
No,
Wednesday?
I was not drunk. I had one drink.
And later,
Aren't you grateful that she ran after your daughter and saved a tragedy from happening?
Well, yes, of course I am,
But you also feel that that was happening because she wasn't adequately supervised.
exactly.
if you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. This is Justice for the People with Judge Millian. We're back with the dispute between Mac Keller and his sister-in-law, Tasha Givens, over Thanksgiving dinner.
And by then she'd had enough, I had enough, and I confronted him and told him why he's not invited.
What did you
Because
say?
I told him, I said, I don't want you coming to my house, you're broke, you don't never keep a job, and I'm tired of you treating my sister disrespectfully.
Okay.
And you're no longer welcome to come to my house for Thanksgiving, and don't worry about bringing no food.
He says that there have been other times when you've lashed out in anger and you didn't mean it. Did you ever tell him you're not welcome to an event and then welcome him, or is that not true?
It's a lot of things happened during the past. I'm always going off, probably because he has no job. He inherited a lump sum of money, and he gambled it off. He spends too much money on himself, not enough on the kids, not enough on his
That's not true,
family.
Your Honor.
He doesn't have money to cover things like last Thanksgiving. He didn't have any money.
Okay, but my question was, I know what a terrible guy he is. You've made that clear. My question to you was, have there been times in the past where you've told him not to come to something that he wasn't welcome and then welcomed him anyway?
No, that is not correct, Your
Okay.
Honor.
Have there been times that you've said something in anger, I never want to see you again, and then seen him?
That is no,
Okay.
Your Honor.
So when he says that he didn't believe you because this has happened before, you're saying it's never happened
It's
before.
never happened. He just merely.
Were you drunk that night on
No,
Wednesday?
I was not drunk. I had one drink.
Oh, really?
Yes, just one drink.
Add a zero.
Well, that's
on
no
the end of
fun.
that.
All right.
Yeah, but-
So did your sister take you seriously? Because your sister was in the car with him.
She did take me seriously.
If she took him seriously, why didn't your sister say you can't come? She told you couldn't come. Don't come.
I have no idea why she
Did you ever talk to her and say, why'd you bring that
She
man?
was
You
right there when I told him.
My point is, after he leaves, did you ever say to her, why'd you bring him? You know you couldn't bring him, and did you ever say something to her?
I did. When they arrived and I saw him with the turkey and skipping out with the food, I was like, I told you he wasn't invited. Why did you bring him? And she just went on in the house, and I just told him, look, I told you last night he wasn't invited. Turn
So
around.
you turn him away, and the kids and the wife stay for
They
Thanksgiving.
stayed for Thanksgiving.
Was it a nice Thanksgiving?
We had a nice Thanksgiving.
And you had a backup plan? Who has a turkey in their pocket? How did you have a backup plan?
Because he asked me a week. I had already ordered a turkey, and it was already coming. Because he had asked me at the end of October. By then, I've already got my turkey and all got my stuff that I'm planning on cooking. I told him okay, because he always ends up not pulling through. So I was like, okay, not thinking he would really have Thanksgiving dinner, because he never pulls through on anything. He never pulls through on his word. So I just assumed it was going to be another one of those events.
Was your sister mad at you for not letting him in?
No, she wasn't, because he's a cheater. And
Why was she in the
tired.
car with him to begin with then? Why didn't she tell him, stay home? You heard her. I'm just curious.
I have no idea why she decided to do that.
Is your sister like you or no?
She's more meek-minded than me. I'm more of a strong person.
Why would Ms. Givens have to pay you $360 when she clearly told you the day before, don't come and you're not welcome?
She didn't make that very clear. If she had done this before, previous times, and I had been welcomed afterwards, she's lying when she says.
Most people, listen, but when people say don't come, you're not welcome, the default position is don't come, you're not welcome.
And this don't have anything to do with food in the past. This is the first time he's ever volunteered to bring food.
You thought she'd just get over it.
Yes.
And it didn't happen. How does that create a legal obligation on her part to reimburse you for the food?
Because, I mean, my distress from the situation, she's sending me home on Thanksgiving away from my family.
With a lot of food. Food for 8, all for you.
And all of it spoiled. I couldn't eat all of it, obviously. It's
well,
spoiled.
your kids and your soon-to-be ex-wife are coming home. They could have lots
came home with Thanksgiving leftovers from her place.
Okay.
They didn't eat all of the Thanksgiving that I had. Like I said, it's spoiled.
Right, but how does it? Ms. Givens is the, it's her home. She warns you the day before, don't come, you're not welcome.
Drunkenly.
Okay, either way. And you decide to come because she couldn't possibly have meant it. Well, it turns out she meant it. How does that translate into her owing you $360? Why isn't this just one of those things? Where, I guess she did mean it, and you were wrong to assume she didn't. I mean, I don't think you needed to mansplain what she meant. I think she was pretty clear.
Drunkenly clear. I mean, we've all...
Right. She's hearing about your infidelity. She's mad. She loves her sister. She feels like her sister doesn't stand up for herself. And she tells you, you're this, you're that, you're a loser. Don't come tomorrow. You're not welcome. I mean, it couldn't be more clear. Like that you shouldn't have come, shouldn't have spent the money, shouldn't have brought it. But even if you did, even if it wasn't clear, let's just say that she found out 10 minutes before you showed up. 10 minutes before you showed up that you had cheated on her sister, and she said, you're not coming in my house. How does that translate into she must now reimburse you $360 for a meal that you were always going to pick up the tab for? And the answer is it doesn't. It doesn't. Mm-hmm. So my verdict in this case is for the defendant.
All rise.
Judge Millian has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim is denied.
Even
Once
though
a
I didn't
loser,
win,
always a
even though I
loser.
didn't win, I will never see you again. I'm
Likewise.
Coming up,
Did you quit or did he fire you?
No, he actually fired me when I
Right
was...
that moment?
No.
Or- okay.
I drove to the hospital myself, and then he fired me when I was at the hospital over text.
this is Justice for the People with Judge Millian. Samantha Carter claims she was injured on the job while saving the life of her employer's daughter. Brandon Locke says his former nanny is at fault for failing to keep an eye on his 3-year-old who ran into the street.
Okay, Ms. Carter, you are suing your former employer, Mr. Lux, for $897.15 in damages that you say were due to his negligence. Tell me what happened.
Well, I am suing him because I was injured saving his child's life on the job.
Okay. You were employed by him as a nanny?
Yes.
And your hours were what?
My hours were, he's a construction worker, so they were a little different than usual. My hours were 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. on weekdays, all 5 weekdays, and then noon to 4 p.m.
How
on
old
weekends.
are the kids?
The kids are 3 and 6, little girl 3 and a boy 6.
So on this particular day when you get injured, tell me what happened.
So we usually play in the backyard, me and the kids, but he was doing work in the backyard, so he told us to play in the front yard. And while we're playing in the front yard, we're playing with some basketballs, soccer balls, all that stuff, and one of the balls flies into the street, or rolls into the street, and the 3-year-old runs to the street to go grab it, and a car's coming, so I run after the 3-year-old, and I dive, and I, get her away from the car.
All right, so when you grab her, you end up tearing your ACL. Mm-hmm. And what happens? Do you call out for him? What happens to him?
He witnessed the whole thing, and
I thought you said he was in the backyard.
Well, the backyard is kind of like, I guess, more the side of the house.
Okay.
Maybe I should have
All
said.
right.
Coming up,
How do you know something has gone down?
Well, I heard a screech, I turn around and I kind of see, them on the ground, and I run out, to get them and see what's going on.
this is Justice for the People with Judge Millian. We're back with a case of Samantha Carter, who brought Brandon Lux to court after she was injured saving his child.
And then when do you say to, did you quit or did he fire you?
No, he actually fired me when I
Right
was...
that moment?
No.
Or- okay.
I drove to the hospital myself, and then he fired me when I was at the hospital over text.
Let me hear from you, Mr. Lux.
Yes. I employed Sam here for a few weeks as a nanny for my two small children. As she said, I have kind of crazy hours. I work construction, so the during the week stuff, the kids are already asleep and everything. But on the weekends, it's really to be hands-on nannying.
Right. Is there a mom in the picture?
No, there
Okay.
is none anymore. She actually took off about, my youngest was about 18 months old when she just said, I can't do this anymore.
So talk to me and tell me what happened on this day. Were you in the backyard, the side yard? Where were you?
Well, it's kind of, we were working in the backyard. The driveway leads into the backyard, so I was over there. We're building a garden and, plays for the kids.
Whose idea was it for her to play with the kids in the front yard?
It was mine.
And so you tell her, go to the front yard and play with the kids.
Yeah.
And then how do you know something has gone down?
Well, I heard a screech. I turn around and I kind of see, them on the ground, and I run out, to get them and see what's going on. And then I realize Sam is hurt, and so Sophie, my little girl, and so I pick her up. She's crying. Sam looks like she's having problems, so I take them both inside and start tending to my girl's knee, and it was bleeding, and I'm dealing with all of that, and I got her a little bit more calm, and then Sam was like, I'm not feeling very well. I was like, okay, well, you can go, and I helped her to her car because it looked like she needs some help getting to her car, and then she left, and I went back to making sure the kids were all right.
Aren't you grateful that she ran after your daughter and saved a tragedy from happening?
Well, yes, of course I am,
but you also feel that was happening because she wasn't adequately supervised.
Exactly.
Judge Million's verdict when justice for the people returns. This is Justice for the People with Judge Million.
In order to win a lawsuit, you have to prove that side did something wrong. Like, it was a dangerous terrain. He tripped you. He's the one who threw the ball and the kid went after. Something that he did that has some complicity in the situation that caused it. That's a proximate cause.
Yeah.
I would be so happy my daughter wasn't a pancake that I would pay for your damages. But that's not the standard in court. Mm-hmm. So my verdict in this case is for the defendant.
All rise.
Judge Million has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim is denied.
Sam, hopefully you learn from this that, you gotta take better care and watch what you're doing, and hopefully you grow up a little bit.
I think I would just say that maybe this is why he doesn't have a wife anymore.
This has been a production of Allen Media Group.